Part 3. Interpreting the search results. In this example, a site on the Gulf of Suez in Egypt has been delineated. The tool automatically buffers the search area to 20 kilometers and begins to compile and analyze all of the soaring bird data that intersects with the site. After a few moments, a search report appears along the bottom of the window. Information relating to the different datasets is presented in different tabs. There is also a summary box with the key information. Hovering over the key information gives more explanation. For instance, within this search area, 30 species of soaring bird have been recorded, and, based on their range maps, 2 more species are potentially present in the area. The Species tab provides more information on these 32 species. There is the English common name of each species, the peak count of each species, and information on whether the species has actually been observed or whether its presence is inferred from the species range maps. In this example, the 2 species that have not been observed but whose range map suggests that they could potentially occur at the site are bearded vulture and Saker falcon. The source column shows where the data originated. For instance, whether it is information associated with an IBA or if it is a record taken from a scientific publication. For each species, a link is provided to a detailed species fact sheet on the BirdLife website. Clicking on a species reveals more information. For instance, at this site we can see that the peak count of up to 250,000 white storks dates from 1998, and that this represents nearly half of the species' global population. The storks are on passage at the site, moving between their breeding grounds in Europe and non-breeding sites in sub-Saharan Africa. The conservation status of this species, as determined by the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species, is least concern. In addition, we can see that the white stork has a Species Vulnerability Index, or SVI, of 10. This is a measure of the inherent vulnerability of this species to collision with energy infrastructure based on its morphology and flight behaviour. In addition to white stork, many other soaring bird species occur at this site in significant numbers. For instance, around 13% of the world's 11th sparrowhawk, 5% of the world's black stork, and 4% of the world's common crane pass through the site whilst on migration. Also migrating through this site are globally threatened species, such as the endangered Egyptian vulture and the vulnerable eastern imperial eagle. There is also a breeding population of the near-threatened sooty falcon. The summary also indicates that there are 2 important bird and biodiversity areas that intersect with the search area, and that both of these are known to support soaring birds. For more information on these IBAs, click on the Soaring Bird IBA tab. Here we see that the search area overlaps with one IBA and that a second falls within the search area buffer 8.5 kilometers from the site perimeter. For both sites, links are provided to detailed IBA fact sheets on the BirdLife website. Clicking on the IBAs reveals more information, including all of the soaring bird population data associated with the site. For this search area, there are 2 additional sources of observation records, which provide further data on the soaring bird species present in the area. We can also see that this search overlaps with 3 protected areas, 2 proposed and 1 designated. The final tab lists all of the individual satellite tagged birds that have been recorded passing through this site. In this example, the satellite tracking routes of 94 birds intersect with the search area. The majority of these are records of white stork moving through the site in spring and autumn. As well as collating this detailed information, The tool uses the data to calculate a single sensitivity value for the search area. Taking into account the proportion of the global population of each species present, the conservation status of each species present, and the inherent vulnerability, or SVI, value of each species present, the tool produces a maximum sensitivity score. In this case, a sensitivity score of 7.35 places this search area in the outstanding sensitivity category. To output all of this information, click on the Create PDF Report button. Assign the report a title and subtitle, and decide what information to include in the report. For instance, if you do not wish to include information on the protected areas that overlap the search area, simply deselect this before creating the report.